Hi, this is Vi from Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to try out a new technique that I think is going to be fun. I'm going to be using this stamp. One of my favorite stamp is this brick stamp that I bought at Las Vegas, at Viva Las Vegas stamp. And I'm also going to be using a hot glue gun. And I'm going to be using some gesso. So I got a big jar of gesso and some ink. So let me go ahead and get started to show you what I have in mind. I'm going to go ahead and ink my brick, and you can use any color. I'm using a kind of a gray color, but you can use any color to do this technique. And I'm going to start stamping on my background. Okay, so I think I'm done with my stamping. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my heat gun, and then I'm going to trace my outline of my bricks, as you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and do that to that technique, trace all my bricks, and I shall be back. Okay, so I did put all the glue, and then one of the things when you do put glue, you have all these little webs, as you can see these. You have like little tiny webs right there. So what you need to do is you need to take something that, either a needle or anything like that, and you're going to try to clean it out before we put a coat of gesso here. So you're going to try to clean out all the little webs of glue. And I've done for a good amount of cleaning off camera. So you're going to kind of go in between and just pick those up. So now the next part of this project is to put some gesso. As you can see, because we're using some hot glue, you can see the stamping or the ink behind the you can see it from behind the brick. So what I want to do is I want to apply a thin coat of gesso. So let me go ahead and open. And you can also use paint. You don't have to use gesso, but you can also use any kind of acrylic paint. And I'm going to go ahead and take some gesso, and then I'm going to apply a thin coat on the bricks. And what I want to do is I want to make it look more like brick than if, and I don't want it to kind of show that it actually was hot glue. So I'm going to go ahead and coat everything with a thin coat of gesso. Okay, so let me show you the difference. So there, that's how it looks with gesso, and this is how it looks without gesso. And let me go ahead and prep this whole page, and I'll be back. Okay, so my page is complete. My base page is complete. So I put a layer of watercolor, yellow watercolor, and then I went over it with a little bit of brown, a little bit of black, just to make it a little distressed look. And as you can see, it really came out pretty nice. So I'm ready to create my layout. Now I'm using a lot of scraps piece of papers that I have. These are the papers that I'm going to be using. This is just a regular white cardstock, and actually it was left over from a project, so I used a reverse side, and I just do some watercolor, I painted, and then I stamped it with a background stamp, and I use Tatter Rose distressing ink just to give it a little bit of background, but I just didn't want to give too much focus on this paper because most of the focus I want to give is on my base page. Then, like you can see here, these are scraps. This is going to be part of the layering that I'm going to be using for this project. And then these are my photo mats. Now I'm just going to put some inking on the sides. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the video, and I'm just inking all the edges with black sud distressing ink. And then I'm going to be using some hot glue because I do have a lot of texture on the background, and the only thing that really works well is some type of real aggressive glue in order to keep it down. So I'm using these filigree die cut, and it's actually a quick cut die that I purchased some time ago at Hobby Lobby. And what I've noticed with these, it works best if you use a spray adhesive. I try to use stick glue, but it really doesn't work that well, especially in this type of background that has a lot of dimension and texture. Now these are the flowers that I created, and click on my link. And I have a tutorial how I show you how to create these type of ribbon flowers with jute. And I'm just placing this ribbon there in the middle of the lower side of the page. And now I'm ready to put my prima doll and my stamp. Now this prima doll is also a video. I have a video how I show you how to get more from your stamps. And I actually just stamped the doll on a regular piece of white paper. I took it to my scanner, I enlarged it, and then I printed it out and traced the image on regular paper and made my doll. So here's the doll, and I really like the size of that doll. It's great. Here's the ribbons, flowers, and you can see that it really came out very nice. You wouldn't know that doll was actually a scan image of the stamp. And then see the texture of the brick. I really like this page. I think it's one of my favorites of all the pages I made, and it has that distressing brick look that I really love. So here I'm creating the second half of this layout using the same squirrel die cut, and I'm just placing down, inking the edges with the same kind of ink, black sud, to tie it in with the first page. And then I'm using some this paper. This is also scrap pieces of paper, so everything I'm using here are scraps. And I'm laying 2 photo mat in the same orientation that I had in the first page. And then to tie this page with the other page, I'm putting those flowers, same ribbon flowers. So I made an additional 4 more flowers. And then I'm putting my prima doll. And this is the one doll that I show you how to create in the tutorial. So click on the link and I will take you to that tutorial, and I'll show you how to create this doll with a scan image. So I'm almost done with this page. These 2 pages came out pretty quick after I had everything cut. And then I'm just putting some, and I'm showing the blings. So I bought these blings at Hobby Lobby, and they were on 50% off. And I really like it. It has an iridescent shine to it. It's not like regular gems. This one is more iridescent, as you can see there. It has some purple, some blue, and I really like these gems. So there's one of my pages. So that's the second page. And this is the first page. And as you can see, you have the nice large prima doll with my ribbon flowers. And it came out pretty nice. And the texture background. I really love that brick background. And then here's my second page with the other prima doll and the ribbon flowers. And that flower up there, it was my attempt to create a butterfly. It doesn't look quite like a butterfly, but it looks good enough. And thank you for watching. Bye now.